Hey there, it's Kristen Tatman with Kristen Tatman Coaching. You probably know that since you probably are following me, but maybe not. Somebody might share this with you. But today we're going to talk about your mindset and whether your mindset is really helping to propel you forward in your life or if it's actually keeping you stuck and keeping you from living your best version of yourself. And so I wanted to tell you a little bit about my own story so that you get an understanding as to why I teach about mindset and the importance of it, and why it's such a critical part of your way of being, and understanding that, you know, without really having a positive mindset, without having a growth mindset, without really spending time studying how you think, your beliefs, your patterns, and your thoughts that you're having on a daily basis, if you don't spend time uncovering some of that stuff, your life really isn't going to go the way you would like it to be. Now, some people have great mindsets, and they already have a real clear idea about thinking positively and believing in themselves and things. But a lot of people have a lot of fearful thoughts and a lot of, they call it stinking thinking, where your thoughts are just really causing you to have kind of a downward spiral, and your life just isn't going that well. And so, because with everything that happens in life, one event can take place and I can have an interpretation of what's going on. Thanks for being here, you guys. And you can have an interpretation of what's going on. I tell a little story about this man who, I've mentioned this before, but this man who his wife kept cooking ham and kept cutting the ends off of the ham. And they did this every time that they had Christmas. So finally he asked the mother-in-law, he just couldn't understand why she kept telling him it makes the ham taste better. And he's like, that just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. So he finally asked, and it went up to the grandmother. And he said to the grandmother, look, these ladies keep telling me that the ham tastes better. I can't figure out why that would be the case, but I just think it's ridiculous that we're cutting off and wasting part of the ham. And the grandmother said, she goes, oh my gosh, is that what they've been telling you? She goes, it's not because the ham is going to taste better. It's because that's the only way I could get it to fit in the pan. And so with that little story, the idea behind it is that everybody's got a belief, everybody's got a knowing, everybody's got a way that they filter through life, that they see things, that there's a certain belief that they have about stuff. You may have a belief about, how people are supposed to, behave in a relationship. You may have a belief about how people are supposed to act in business, how, what certain etiquette is appropriate. But you may have that belief and somebody else that you're with doesn't have the same belief. So it causes this discord, this disconnect where you're frustrated with them, they're frustrated with you, and neither one of you thinks that neither one's wrong, but it's your beliefs that are actually driving your behavior and your thoughts and the things that you grew up with. And the problem is that we don't really know some of our beliefs and our thoughts and our patterns of behavior, and we don't really know the decisions that we're making. We may have stories about money, which we've talked about in the past. We may have stories that money doesn't grow on trees and money has to be difficult. So that's a pattern, that's a thought pattern, that's a paradigm, a way that you show up every day based on your thoughts, based on what you've been told in the past by your parents, just like the ham story. There's a story that you've been told about money. And so if you can't get more money in your bank account, you can't figure out why, and you keep having relationships that aren't working, or you keep having jobs that aren't working for you, and you have relationships in your job, you're showing up in a certain way and they're letting you go, it's because of your thoughts. It's because of the things that you're thinking. It's your patterns of behavior and your beliefs that are actually creating your reality for yourself. So, back in the day, a little story about myself is I used to really feel very sort of, I felt really different. Like I was the only person that thought the way I thought. Like I had a lot of deep thoughts, and I would say to my friends, gosh, I can't believe that. I wonder if this would happen, with that relationship, or if this person did that, what would happen? And they'd be like, why do you think so much? Like you think so deeply. Like who cares? And I'm like, I don't know. This is what I do. So a lot of us can be up in our head, where we just live in our head all the time, and we're always worrying and thinking and trying to figure everything out, instead of really touching base in our heart and asking ourselves, like, why am I even worrying about that? What's the problem? So it's important for us to recognize that if we're in our head all the time, we can create catastrophic thoughts, and we can create these images that something terrible is going to happen, and then we kind of live in this moment of fear and anxiety. So a lot of people who are depressed, who have anxiety, it's their thoughts that are creating that reality for them. So I like to help people to understand that once you can uncover some of the thoughts that you're having, you can really change your life around and you can start living a life of more inner freedom. I myself, from the age of 19, probably for 20 something years, went through chronic migraines, irritable bowel syndrome. I had all kinds of, the migraines were the worst, but I became depressed, I had anxiety, and I would go to all these doctors and they would say, well, what are you thinking about? Or like, what's going on in your life? And I'd be like, it's nothing to do with my life. Like, you guys need to fix these migraines. You need to fix the stomach thing. Like, but it was all relating back to the thoughts that I was having, the fear-based thoughts. A lot of times our stomach is really a barometer for how we're feeling. If you get a stomach ache when you think about doing something that feels challenging, or you feel some anxious thoughts, that's because, we have the brain, the heart, and the gut brains. Like, all three of these things are really driving us. So recognizing that, staying up in this place and not coming back down into this place, not getting connected to your heart and what it is that you want and what it is that you're afraid of, like connecting to the feelings around it, that's going to, you're just going to keep in this spiral of being in relationships where things don't feel like they're working out and you feel like life is really hard and you keep making the same mistakes and you don't know why you're doing it. So it's important for you to start uncovering these thoughts, these beliefs, and patterns of behavior. And so I teach this class, which I'm teaching on Monday night, and it's $97. If you go to a therapist, it costs you $120. If you don't have insurance, $160. Or 2 therapy sessions is $50. But this process that I teach, I learned it myself, and it helped me to stop being anxious, helped me with my depression, helped me with my migraines. Like, I don't have any of those things anymore. I get down once in a while. I feel down, but I recognize that it's a thought that I'm having that's taking me down, and I don't have to be depressed. I don't have to be sad. Now, yes, we have chemical imbalances and things, and some people need to take medications and things like that. I actually take different herbs now that help me with that, but mostly I just change my thoughts. So I'm teaching this class. It starts on Monday night. It's an online class in a Facebook group, and it's called Thought Pattern Perfecting, and I learned it when I was getting my master's degree in spiritual psychology. And it was the answer after all the therapists and things that I had gone to from the age of 19 up until 40. It was the one thing that really helped me to shift my way of thinking and helped me to really heal myself. And so I created a course about it because I was so passionate about it, and the difference that it made was so amazing. So I've got this class, Thought Pattern Perfecting, and I've probably mentioned it. You may have heard of it before. So we'll put in the comments section below if you want to read more about the class. But basically, we're going to start out on Monday night, and I'm going to teach people. I'm just going to be on for half an hour from 7 to 7:30 Eastern Time. And if you can't watch at that time, you can watch later on in the night, or you can watch the next morning. But I'm going to be teaching the process of how we study our thoughts, patterns, and behavior. It's really pretty simple. We just keep track of it somewhere, because unconsciously, we don't know what it is that we're doing that's not working for us. But once we start writing it down and we start seeing the thoughts that we're having and seeing the judgments we're having about other people, noticing ourselves playing small, and we start writing it down, once we physically see it for ourselves, then we can stop doing it. We actually do stop doing it. We notice it in writing. We notice that we're doing it. We're like, I never knew I did that. I never knew I told myself I was stupid 10 times a day. I never did, knew I was telling other people I can't do that or I'm not capable. And so we show up incapable when we tell ourselves that we're incapable. So it's really super powerful, and it's really fun. And there's been about 40 to 50 people that have been through it, and they've had incredible results. They've really, really benefited from it. So anyway, if you're interested in knowing more about this, it is, you can figure this stuff out by yourself, but you're going to have to go to do a lot of self-study and stuff like that. But you can do this class. It's 5 weeks, and you can, after you do it, you'll have it online. You can go back and refer to it anytime, but it's really fun to do with somebody else. So I hope you'll join us, and feel free to comment below. Let me know if you have any questions. And, I wish you the best. Getting a handle on your mindset is key to really enjoying a life of inner freedom. Something that you may never have imagined possible. It's changed my life completely. All right, thanks for being here today, and we'll see you next Friday.